LD9, Children's Learning and Development. LD9 is broken into 3-star levels. Remember, if you're applying for the 4-star designation, you also need to meet the criteria in 3-star. The same applies for 5-star. 5-star has to meet the 3 and 4-star levels. Standard LD9 states the program uses information from screening and assessment to measure children's learning and development in order to make referrals and do program planning. At the 3-star level, you must demonstrate that a screening is performed on each child within 30 days of when the child enters a program and on an annual basis to refer children for specialized assessments when necessary. Please note that this standard is not applicable for after-school programs, with the exception of one piece of evidence at the 4-star level, which we'll talk about in a moment. As evidence, you must either check the box if you use one of the pre-listed screening tools, or provide a written description of how the screening you use aligns with the Child Development and Early Learning Framework and Oregon's Early Learning Foundation's Birth to 3. You can find these resources at the back of your portfolio in the appendices. And you must also include your official program policies on conducting screening and referring children for additional assessment, as well as a copy of a completed screening with one child's name removed. You must also provide a written example of a time that you referred a child for specialized assessment based on the screening information, if it applies to you. If it does not apply to you, please make sure you mark the box NA next to this piece of evidence so that the reviewers know not to look for that evidence. At the 4-star level, in addition to meeting the 3-star level criteria, your evidence needs to demonstrate that you conduct an assessment of learning and development for each child at least 2 times during the year and plan learning activities based on that assessment information. Again, you need to either indicate which assessment tool you use or provide a written description of how the assessment you use aligns with the Child Development and Early Learning Framework and Oregon's Early Learning Foundation's Birth to 3. And you must provide a copy of a completed assessment with the child's name removed. You must also include a written description of how your daily schedule and weekly plan are tied to assessment information. If you're an after-school only program, you will need to provide a written description of your child assessment procedures. Remember to be specific and include examples where appropriate. At the 5-star level, in addition to meeting the 3 and 4-star level criteria, the evidence needs to demonstrate that samples of children's work, written accounts of specific observations, and information from family members are collected on an ongoing basis to supplement assessment. You demonstrate this by providing a written description of supplemental assessment information collected on children. Always remember to label your evidence and make it easy for the reviewer to find. Highlighting where you want the reviewers to look is also a very helpful practice. This standard requires lots of evidence. It's a good idea to go back and make sure you've included each piece of evidence to pass this standard. Don't forget to look at the evidence tips section after each standard. These tips are designed to help you be successful in documenting program quality.